We've had the public expenditure review statement this week by the Chancellor, and there's been a lot of jubilation about tax credits and the investment in housing. I think this morning I'd like to talk about the investment in housing, to unpack it a little bit and then make a challenge to the London mayoral candidates about the future of housing in London. Whilst new housing is needed, and that's to be applauded, we have to ask ourselves what type of housing and who can afford it is what is proposed. And I sit doing this blog today thinking about how can our homeless people, who when they get jobs tend to get them on minimum wage, access the housing market. And the answer is it is very, very difficult, and becoming more difficult by the week. One of my colleagues, for example, attended a meeting about Move On with organisations from around England in the last week. And in other parts of England, if you've lived in an area for 6 months, you're entitled to register with the council to gain access to council housing. Here in the East End of London, it is 7 years. 7 years is a remarkable difference from other parts of the country. So I think the mayoral candidates for next year's election should be considering a housing commission for London to try to get to the bottom of the serious crisis that is now unfolding. Because in this borough of Newham, for example, 7 years wait to get on the housing list is a very interesting figure. 28 people living in a house, 3-bed house, overcrowded, is another interesting figure. The average rent has shot up to over £1,000 for a flat, and the local housing allowance is less than £800. So we've entered into a perfect storm in the housing market for the low paid here in the East End of London. So I asked the mayoral candidates, what are they going to do about this perfect storm?